Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Monday, July 21st, 2025. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in Major League Baseball, you can find those at the Experts tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alright, here we go. Here are the games for Monday, Major League Baseball. First up, we've got the Cleveland Guardians hosting the Baltimore Orioles. We've got Tomoyuki Sugano and Tanner Bibee as the starters. Two starting pitchers with similar ERAs at this point in the season. I do think Bibee's got a lot more upside to his game, though. We know what Bibee in the last couple of years has been an ace-level starting pitcher for this Guardians rotation. Hasn't been that guy in 2025 with a 5-9 record, 4.29 ERA, but I still think he is one of the better options in this rotation. I think he has a strong second half, and I like the way that the Guardians played in this past weekend series. Their offense started to get going, especially on Sunday. I think they'll get to Sugano. I think the Guardians bullpen holds up. I'm going to roll with Cleveland in this one on the money line. Next up, we've got the Tigers and the Pirates. We've got Jack Flaherty and Paul Skeens as the starters. I think this is a pretty brutal spot for the Tigers. You're coming off Sunday Night Baseball in Texas, going to Pittsburgh to face Paul Skeens, one of the best pitchers in baseball. Skeens already pitched against these Tigers back at Comerica Park, had a good outing and a Pirates victory. I think it's a lopsided pitching matchup. I think it's a tough spot for Detroit. I'm going to roll with the Pirates in this one on the money line at a reasonable price. We can get Paul Skeens at a reasonable price because the Tigers, with the best record in baseball, are on the other side. But like I've mentioned many times, they may have the best record in baseball. I don't think they're the best team in baseball. Next up, we've got the San Diego Padres taking on the Miami Marlins. We've got Yuri Perez for Miami, but no official starter right now for the Friars. Now, the Padres, nice to see their offense get going on Sunday with 8 runs, but this is a Marlins team that we know has been playing really competitive baseball. They won the series this weekend against the Royals. Perez has really elevated his game after some struggles early in his season. I mean, he's been really sharp since. 3.18 ERA now on the year. I think this is going to be a competitive series. I think the Marlins are going to pick up a couple of wins, including a win in this game. Next up, we've got the Red Sox and the Phillies. We've got Zach Wheeler and Walker Buehler as the starters. Now, when you look at the Phillies' performance this weekend, it's not really a team that I'd want to go out and lay 1.5 runs or lay minus 200 odds with after that performance, giving up a ton of runs. But this is such a lopsided starting pitching matchup that for me, it's Phillies or pass, and it's probably a pass. I just don't think the value is there with Philadelphia in their current form. But Buehler struggled after he had a great start to the season. Since then, now he's got an ERA above 6 on the year. Wheeler, one of the best pitchers in the National League. Red Sox, we backed them a few times this weekend, or all 3 games, honestly, against the Cubs at Wrigley. They only won 1 of those 3, but they picked up the W on Sunday, had a pretty good performance offensively. I don't think they carry over that momentum against Zach Wheeler, though. I'm going to roll Philadelphia and lay the 1.5 runs in a lean. Next up, we've got the Cincinnati Reds and the Washington Nationals. We got Brady Singer and Jake Irvin as the starters. And we saw the Reds' offense was competitive in that series against the Mets at Citi Field. That's a pitcher-friendly ballpark against a good pitching staff and good starting pitchers in that rotation. The Reds were competitive. They were really close on Sunday for the sweep, but they were able to pick up the first 2 games. And I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. I've mentioned my concerns with Jake Irvin. The underlying numbers aren't great, and I think he struggles in this one, even though he's coming off a decent outing in his last game against the Brewers. I also see, though, the Nationals should be able to get to Brady Singer. I think both teams, really chip in offensively early and often. I'm going to roll with the over in Reds Nationals. Next up, we got the Yankees and the Blue Jays. We got Carlos Rodon and Kevin Gausman as the starters. Now, the Yankees obviously have a lot of rivals. They got the Red Sox and the Mets, of course, but even the other teams in the AL East, the Orioles and the Rays, the Yankees have had their fair share of great series between those teams. But when you look at the Blue Jays, not really the team that the Yankees have kind of battled with in the last decade plus. They've had some great series, some entertaining games to watch, but when we saw this last series between these two at Rogers Center, that's where we really started to see a rivalry brewing between the top 2 teams in the AL East. And we know the Blue Jays are now in first place. The Yankees were in first for a while, but the Blue Jays had a great month of June, great start of the month of July, and now they are still in first place. They swept the Yankees in that last series, but they definitely made it known. The broadcasters, the fans, they brought out the brooms. They were boasting a little bit, and I think the Yankees do remember that quite a bit. And I think this is going to be a chippy series. I think it's going to be an exciting series to watch. And I think the Yankees, who had a great comeback victory on Saturday, had a win on Sunday over the Braves, can carry over that momentum into this important game. You get Carlos Rodon on the mound, a lefty facing a Blue Jays team has not been great against lefties in the last 30 days. I've mentioned my concerns with Kevin Gausman's form. I don't think he's pitching as well as we've seen him in recent years. I'm going to roll the Yankees in this one on the money line. Should be a great game. Next up, we've got the Angels and the Mets. We got Kodai Senga and Tyler Anderson as the starters. Now, we saw the Mets not play great baseball this weekend, and the Angels, it was the opposite. They had some big underdog victories over the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park, and this is a situation where we're getting a really good plus money price and even plus 1.5 runs at a decent price with the Angels. Their offense had a great series. You're up against Kodai Senga, who's had a great year, but this is only his second start back from injury. I could see him struggling with his control, especially. I don't think he's going to go very deep into this ball game. The Mets have not been great against left-handed pitching in the last 30 days. The Mets do have a pretty sizable bullpen advantage, that's for sure, but I think the Angels score enough runs in this game to pick up the W. Give me the Angels on the money line and plus the 1.5 runs. Next up, we've got the Giants and the Braves. We got Hayden Birdsong and Bryce Elder as the starters. Now, obviously, I've mentioned many times, Bryce Elder is not one of my favorite starting pitching options to back, but in this particular matchup, I think he could be the better option. Not necessarily because he's the better starting pitcher, and I think Birdsong's got a lot more upside to his game, a lot more potential throughout his career, but when you look at the current form, and you look at the fact that Bryce Elder faced this Giants team earlier in the season, had one of his best starts of his career, probably his best start of his career, 8 innings, 12 strikeouts for Elder in that game, while Birdsong really struggling with his control recently. He was pitching quite well, but now we've seen his last 3 games, 4+ walks given up, sharp contact, a lot of home runs, at least 1 in 5 straight games. I know it's been a disappointing season for the Braves. They had a couple of disappointing losses this weekend, but I think they pick up the win in this game. Give me Atlanta on the money line. Next up, we've got the White Sox and the Rays. We got Sean Burke and Shane Baz as the starters. The Rays are sizable favorites, I think, for good reason. Listen, the White Sox had a great series in Pittsburgh, stealing a couple of games in that series, but I think this is a lopsided matchup starting pitching-wise. I think the Rays' offense has the advantage in this series. I think the bullpen also has a big edge, and I think that they win this game in comfortable fashion. Next up, we've got the Royals and the Cubs. Looks like more of a bullpen game with Ryan Brazier starting for or opening for the Cubs, and then Noah Cameron going for KC. Now, Chicago's not been the best against lefties in the last month offensively, and we know Cameron's had a great season. He was also pitching really well before the All-Star break, and KC was able to pick up the W on Sunday and salvage that series in Miami. I don't love this offense, but I do think pitching-wise, they have a pretty big advantage in this game over Chicago, and at a pretty good price at plus money. I'm willing to take a stab here with the Royals in this game on the money line. Next up, it's the Athletics and the Texas Rangers. We got Jack Leiter and Jacob Lopez as the starters. For me, the Rangers coming off Sunday Night Baseball up against the lefty. They've struggled against lefties all season long. I just think the value lies with the A's. Now, I think the Rangers have shown, I think it's going to be a good second half for Texas. I think overall they're going to win a good amount of games, get themselves in a decent position, especially from at the trade deadline, to make some moves and make a playoff push. But this is one of those games where I just don't really love either of these starting pitching options, but I think matchup-wise, the A's offense benefits, and while I don't love this A's bullpen, I still think their high leverage guys are good enough to hold a close lead. The A's have been more competitive on the road this year. I'm going to roll with the A's in this one at a really good price on the money line. Next up, we've got the St. Louis Cardinals and the Colorado Rockies. We got Michael McGreevy for St. Louis, Austin Gomber facing his former team on the other side for Colorado. I mean, there's just absolutely no way I could lay odds with the Cardinals right now on the road after their miserable weekend series. You go into Coors Field. I mean, the Cardinals have not been a good road team this year. They've not been good against left-handed pitching in the last month. So, yes, Austin Gomber is no Cy Young candidate, but he's got a Cardinals team in the last 30 days, a 5.10 team OPS against lefties, an 86 isolated power, a high strikeout rate, low walk rate. I think the Rockies are the value play in this one. I think they get to McGreevy. They had a pretty competitive series against the Twins. Give me the Rockies in this one at a great plus money price. Next up, we've got the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Houston Astros. We've got Colton Gordon and Zach Gallen as the starters. The Diamondbacks are sizable favorites in this game, I think for good reason as well. Zach Gallen did struggle in his last start before the All-Star break. Before that, definitely showed signs of improvement. It's been a disappointing season for Gallen overall. I think he's going to have a really good second half of the year. I think the Diamondbacks in general have a good second half this season. And while the Astros have played good baseball on the road recently, they picked up the win on Sunday. I think that the Diamondbacks, against lefties, they've just crushed them in the last month. I think Gordon's in trouble. I think this is Diamondbacks team total over and Arizona money line. Next up, we've got the Brewers and the Mariners. We've got Brandon Woodruff and George Kirby as the starters. I've really been impressed with Brandon Woodruff in his first couple of games back. I know he's given up 3 home runs, not ideal in 10 and a third innings, but 18 strikeouts, no walks. I mean, he's coming back from a big-time injury. A lot of starting pitchers in his same situation who haven't pitched in over a year, they struggle in their first couple of games back. I know he pitched a lot of rehab starts, but even in those rehab games, his strikeout stuff was a little bit inconsistent. I was worried for him in that first start back against the Marlins, a pretty pesky lineup. He was excellent. He was great against the Nationals, even though he didn't pitch that deep into that ball game. I think he's a good option for Milwaukee. I like the way the Brewers are playing. Great series for them against the Dodgers, and the Mariners were also very competitive against the Astros, but I think that Woodruff's the better option in this matchup. I'm going to go Milwaukee here on the money line. Next up, we've got the Twins and the Dodgers. We got David Festa and Shohei Ohtani as the starters. I like the under in the first 5 innings. I think Shohei Ohtani pitches well. He's pitched well in limited work, doesn't really go deep into ball games right now, but 3 innings of shutout, 4 strikeout baseball like his last game will be good enough for the Dodgers in this game in the first 5. David Festa, I think, can also limit the damage early on. You got the Twins coming off the Coors Field series. I'm going to roll the under in the first 5. I think the game opens up offensively a little bit late, even though these are 2 really good bullpens. I just think it's going to be a competitive game, maybe even extra innings, but give me the under in the first 5. And that's it. Those are the games for Monday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the experts tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.